Thanks for coming. But we don't have Stan, do
Not yet.
we? Good. All right, could we have a motion on the minutes?
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes, the draft minutes.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, yep.
Thank you. Anybody wishing to address the Harbor Committee?
I do. Good afternoon. I have a question for Bob Giles. If you're prepared to answer them. What are your plans for the pier and the oyster farm in Broad Cove? I'm waiting for the answer here. The pier is not there. The oyster farm is 12 of markers on the oyster farm that are unlabeled. And we cannot use it as an anchorage. And I have pictures of the anchorage here.
So,
Well, go ahead, Bob.
I don't particularly feel that we need to respond, Dick. We've been approved by the DMR and, our, how we plan to farm it is really, frankly, none of your business.
What is your plan? You plan to put the oyster farm back in the pier?
okay, but wait just a minute. What does that have to do?
No comment.
with the Harbor Committee?
It's a harbor. It's a
I know,
harbor and an
but-
anchorage.
What is it that,
I think we should know. We being a resident of Bud Cove who had, passing out pictures of the GAM and 92 boats anchored where he's got his oyster farm.
right?
Did I say something here?
Yeah.
First off, the pier isn't Bob Giles, it belongs to another party.
He's the one who's using it.
It doesn't make any difference, he doesn't own it.
He doesn't know.
And this probably isn't the forum for beating a dead horse that pier. This has been discussed
Well, you can-
numerous times, and as far as an anchorage goes, we've been through this. And you have a dispute with your neighbor, that's something I don't think the Harbor Committee wants to get involved in.
Well, how about labeling them, the markers? There are 12 markers right there now that are.
You have a boat out there right now in the mooring,
I'm planning to put one there,
when?
probably within a month.
Okay,
Well,
last
that's-
summer nothing happened and you said you were going to.
What, I'm telling you, what, I have 2 boats that can go in that harbor on marked buoys right now.
Okay, and you have plenty of space to do it.
Yes, I have plenty of space. But I would like to invite the people that I'm showing you in that picture.
Yeah, and there's plenty of space for them to do things.
No,
that they
there is
care.
not.
This is not the place for this to be discussed.
Um,
Simple as that. This is getting ridiculous. You have a dispute with your neighbor. We're sorry about that. We've been through it. I've spent numerous trips there with a boat. I'm knowledgeable about these things
I don't doubt that.
and, it's just, it's getting a little beyond the realm of reason.
I think I'm owed an answer, however, on whether the oyster farm is gonna be put back or we're gonna mark the buoys.
He has
so
an
that I can
approval,
invite my friends.
his approval was renewed for the oyster farm. So
I
assume that's
understand
going
that.
back. And assume it will be marked according to the way it should be for the summer.
Do we know what, those markers are gonna be put on
But
beforehand?
that is not up to you.
okay,
No, but I'd like to know the answer, so I have people that wanna come and anchor their boats there.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
wanna have a GAM again.
What
Would
is
you-
it?
Would you agree that that's about the size of the oyster farm, or if not, would you draw about how big you,
The oyster
You
farm
say
not
that it
there,
is.
It's right here.
okay,
Yeah, that's about the size. yeah.
okay, so that. We understand your concerns, but this size square is not this whole mooring
No,
field
that's true.
of sailboats.
That's true. But they have an option of putting the oyster farm in another location where we don't have an option for mooring boats.
You do have an option for mooring boats. I will not accept that. As a
What?
captain and Dick, this is ridiculous. You know it, at some level.
I don't think it's ridiculous.
I do. I'm sorry, I disagree. This is becoming a big waste of time.
No, that.
I'm also a captain too as well.
It's not exactly if they have a state approved
I understand.
lease and this. You know, we're not saying that that's the location, but we're in agreement that's about the size. This square is the approximate size and. Personally, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't, what would you like us to do?
At least tell me what the plan is for that area so that I can invite the group of people that you see in that picture.
He plans to have an oyster farm there.
Well, we might be able to work together on this, but I haven't seen the markers.
We
on it.
came up to an agreement, you and I, and we lived up to that agreement. Then you come back and reneged on that agreement.
I'm not ending anything. I just need some
You
answers on
agreed,
broad
you
code.
agreed on those points. And then you came back later. And we moved the end of that a little bit to fully satisfy you. And then you weren't satisfied, you kept coming back,
That's right.
yeah, and that's not acceptable, I'm sorry.
Now, it isn't acceptable to you, but it's not acceptable to me either.
Boats can anchor, there's plenty of place boats to anchor, and I'll be very surprised if we see that number there. When these boats came, there weren't even the fishermen over there where they are now. Are you gonna go to the individual fishermen and ask them to move their moorings?
No, there was no fishermen. Yeah, there's plenty of fishermen around Gilchrist Harbor. Up there with a ferry dock.
Yeah, I'm just sorry, this is just taking up so much time.
I don't think,
It's a moot point,
I think it's legitimate questions.
I don't think so.
No,
No.
that's not the point is this, if you don't like something that happens in front of your place, you've gotta go through the Department of Environmental Resources.
I will do that, but I wanted to come here first because this is where I live. You are the people that I deal with.
Well, we thought we had dealt with that to your satisfaction, honestly. Well, you said you were in agreement with,
I would like to know when the markers are gonna be put on those marks so I can have my friends from all over the world
okay.
come in and anchor their boats and see where the heck what's there. And I haven't seen the marks. I've been told that the mark is gonna be put down.
Department of Marine Resources has a satellite picture of every site around this island. And all you have to do is call them.
Call who?
and Call Department of Marine Resources, and they can send you where those different spots are. In fact, we're gonna use that.
And how am I gonna use that? Am I gonna hand it out to my friends that are coming in to anchor their boat?
If your folks don't have the ability to see.
They identified them by latitude and longitude.
Then we're getting warm now. Having the longitude and latitude, at least I can tell where it's supposedly gonna be. But there's still no markers on those moorings. There's 12 of them.
Well, then you can complain to the Department of Marine Resources. But
We will make sure there's markers on those before summer. Dick will take care of that, I'm sure. That was an agreement we had.
I know, and I haven't seen them yet. You
Okay,
said that
well, be
last night.
patient. Don't keep coming here let us just a simple statement. We'll talk to him. That'll be taken care of. And then, I'm sorry, but I've anchored all over the world too, Dick. And I've anchored amongst salmon farms in Scotland. They're marked, no problem. Boats
We've all
anchor there
done
all
that.
the time.
We've all done that.
Yeah. So, these.
So
are
that's all you
experiences.
want, right?
What's that?
All you
You
want.
just wanna make sure they're marked.
I came here to get the questions answered on when the oyster farm's coming back and so forth. So I have an idea whether or not I can invite our friends. And they're not gonna anchor their boats in there when they have a whole 12 unmarked. I've been promised the marks before. I haven't seen them now.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you. Anybody else?
Nope. I will follow up with Dick Cotton.
Uh, So Stan isn't on yet, is he?
He is not.
Okay, could we have a harbor master's report?
Sure. There's quite a bit to report. It's been an interesting winter, obviously. The first thing I'm gonna report is the damage to town facilities. We did have damage, a certain amount, not as bad as it might have been. We were very lucky, but we did have a lot of electrical damage, more than I realized, any of us realized, that Greg Janey went down to survey underneath everything. And there were some substantial pieces of wood had rammed up in under that broken conduit, was hanging down. Now, it's all been removed, new conduit, new lines. Half of the lines didn't work when he went down there. So now that's fully functioning, and Janet has the bill with the idea that hopefully she can submit that along with some of the to get some of the disaster money to help pay for it. It was down near $10,000. There was some minor hardware damage. There was moorings moved in the first storm, that they put bigger moorings, extended the chain, moved them out further. Have they adjusted that outer float yet, Dylan, the towards Warren Island? Is that still a little off kilter? Has that been done?
It appears the same as it has been.
Yeah, because they were still gonna monkey with that a little bit more. The winch is fixed, the windlass finally,
Yep.
that's been rectified. Josh Conover is now taking over, overseeing that rather than PYY, because in truth, they utilize it, they're doing that stuff all the time. They found the problems. One of the big elephants in the room for us has been all the floats that were washed up in there and the float damage sitting there by the ramp. So I've been in touch with all of the owners. That what's happening right now is there's some height right now, the tides aren't very high. Starting Sunday, the tides are coming right up till, I think it's Monday, Tuesday, we have 10.7. Randy's float is right halfway over the ramp, and it's pushed up against Lev Smith, so he can't put his lower things through. It's a hell of a mess. It's a catch-22. So they're all coordinating it now to get it done. I told them this has to get done. Kerry is having arrangements. I'm not sure who he's gonna use, but they're gonna tow his out. He says on this tide. Randy is gonna get towed out on this tide. Les will be able to finish that timber. He went and got the timbers. He's got everything. He'll slide the building off. So Phil Berry is gonna come down with a dump truck and an excavator, tear up that stuff. The only one I haven't spoken to is Seth, but he's gotten the word he has to get out of there too.
I've been in touch with him.
Okay.
As far as I know, he is planning on getting his out of there in a timely.
Now, I told the fishermen that this summer, we're gonna have a meeting down there with everybody.
Let's just take right now.
Sure,
You said today is the day they're supposed to have it taken
Right.
care.
they couldn't, because the reason being, I went down there, hobbled down there, a few times. And I met with Les, he was working on it, tried to come up with a way that he could get those through, but Randy's is pushed right up against his. It's impossible. They're jammed in. You have to do it at low tide. It's been frustrating for them and us. They all want to get them out of there.
Well, this has been.
This has been going on. I
This has
know.
been months and months.
I
and
know,
months.
so, and we've had a bitch wind, we have 3 storms that have come primarily on weekends, and, at this point, the best thing to do is get it done, move on, not let it happen again.
When is it going to be done?
This next week, things will be moving. I can't give you an exact time, I know, all I can tell you is they're working steadily on it. Right now, if they try pulling those off in these lower tides, they break them apart. They're too far up. They were put up there on a real high tide. It's not gonna be an easy process. So I confirmed that, Phil is on the thing too. I called him. Oh, this was a few weeks ago. I don't, we can't store floats down there the way we've done in the past, not with these weather anymore. We just can't. This is,
I think the harbor committee would agree
yeah,
that something's gotta happen before next year. Because we're gonna have some more of those storms, they're
exactly.
gonna get more intense, and it's gonna be another pile down there.
Well, Dylan and I talked about today, we were talking about, or today or yesterday, that I think that we're gonna probably have to put a guideline in place that they can bring floats in to unload lobster traps or repair them, and then they've gotta go somewhere else. I think that we can't store floats on there. I'm afraid that the more I think about it, with these storms coming out of the southeast, I think no matter how you tie them, you might just break them apart.
Right.
I don't think they can stand up to it, and I think that we just may have to not have it happen.
I have a
Also,
question
yeah.
about that. I have a couple questions.
Sure.
Do you want me to put last names? I don't know what these guys.
Terry Pendleton,
Okay,
Randy Durkee, the Conover boys, Wes Smith, Seth Wilbur.
okay.
Um,
And the other question I have is, if you're not gonna allow floats, that may mean an ordinance change.
well, some of it can come under the harbor master authority,
Okay,
because there's something that said, we can simply say, it should be, if someone's gonna bring a float in there, let's say even for repair. I think that they're gonna have to come to either Dylan or myself and get permission, and we put conditions on it.
Also, if, if they are willing to, I was thinking we could, put in helical moorings.
Right.
For those guys to use on the east side of the boat ramp, and on the west side of the boat ramp, have that be reserved for active repairs. This isn't an ordinance change, this is just a suggestion. And then the other thing is have an understanding, if you're gonna put your float in there, you're gonna need to set a sufficient. If you can't whether or not we set helical moorings, which I think may work. If we set 6 or 8 of them in the mud and they're able to cross tie each float, to say, look, you've gotta be able to keep those floats off of the railing and off of.
I'm not even sure anymore. I was down there for that first bad storm, watching the sea action. And the way they're using, first off, they're using retired floats. They're already iffy. They're not new.
Right, totally.
And I'm afraid that sea action alone and then hitting the bottom is gonna break up the bottoms of those.
That's a very good point.
I think that maybe it's just not a place we're gonna be able to store floats.
Right, I'm just concerned that if we
are there other places
Try to-
they can go?
Well, I think,
ban them from,
I think if they have time to think about it, I think there's possibilities where they can. Now, some people have left their floats in safely in quiet places for the winter. There were floats in Crow Cove all winter.
right, I think we should,
But it's been
Suggest that
it's been
they-
easy just to come that short distance and put them there. It's an easy fix. But
No,
there used to be floats put, for example, over, the other side of the old inn up in that cove. There used to be floats put up towards Mill Creek. There used to be a lot of things done differently than they are now. That's Spruce Island,
right. I just
the other
think
side of Warren Island.
banning them. I think we should just suggest,
Well, that's what I think we need to get together with everyone to talk about, because I don't think the floats can stand up to it. We have
Right, I
three
mean,
storms
that's a good
this winter,
that's it,
that every one of those floats is damaged if you look under it, even the
Yeah.
ones that don't look damaged, they
I know.
all got damaged. And,
that's correct.
I just don't think it's gonna work. And we also have to keep that ramp open for emergency, because there could be a time when we have to bring in a barge or something for infrastructure for the island in these extreme conditions, and we cannot have anything blocking it.
Completely valid.
So I think that we'll have to really look hard at this and give people time to make other arrangements. And they can do repair of it, and it's easy to drive the trucks down to load and unload, but then we can't have another winter like this.
I think it's a great idea to meet with the fishermen, talk it over, but the idea, you can't have the same thing
No,
happen again.
No, we can't. These storms are gonna keep getting more severe. I fully believe that. Those weren't, the storms we had this winter were not the equivalent of a hurricane. Now, hurricanes are mostly out of the season when they have them in there. But this is the first time I can ever remember winter storms, 3 in a row coming in southeast.
Right.
Warm water storms that have this kind of intensity. It's changing, and they're like mini hurricanes, and
Right.
in the winter, and I think that we have to be cognizant of that and start planning for it. We had 3 floats all at the Bounty Cove. It's never been a problem in the past.
Right.
They were all damaged. One incline was just twisted right up. And he ended up moving them way up into the deep part of Riders Cove in a little nook. And I don't think he's gonna be able to put them in the Bounty
Yeah,
Cove.
I mean, some of those guys are not gonna wanna keep their stuff there.
No. No, if they're smart, I wouldn't keep stuff there. I wouldn't even think about it if I was fishing.
How about the float that, does that belong to the rec department? That's over in Seal Harbor, Seal.
that stood fine.
I know, but who owns that? Rec committee?
I'm just trying to think, who would the ownership be of that? I guess so, you know.
I just wonder why it stays in the water.
Well,
all
it's
year
the
round.
safest place to put it. If you put it on the beach, it gets torqued.
Well, why-
And
why
the other
not
part,
Pull it up in the brook.
it probably would get damaged in strong westerly.
Oh,
See, if it's floating, it's not hitting the bottom, and these floats are put on an incline, the way the old ones were built. As the tide comes up, they flex, and every time they do that, it pulls fastenings, and
Oh.
finally they break.
But they spent $5,000 to fix it up.
Yeah, I mean, but it looks good for near as I can see. It should be fine for the summer. I don't know that there's any damage on it. I don't think so.
All right,
So anyway, we've had a few more requests for moorings. They're not in the organized harbor. I've worked with the boat yards about where they go and what'll be down there and the markings for them. Not a huge number, but there's a few people who bought property and stuff. And we did have the dinghy float at Big Tree, the hardware damaged, and they're gonna replace that inner hardware. But as you and I talked about, the one at the ferry was in better shape than we thought, that one dinghy float, so we can get by. Christian thinks numerous more years. So we can save having to put money into that right away.
this is a big one,
That's that big dinghy float as you're going out this way.
right, it's a 20-footer.
Yeah, 10 by 20.
So I thought it was a dinghy.
It is. They use it as a dinghy float. I mean, it's not the main float. The main floats are more than 10 feet. They're 16. This is the one, as you go down the 2 big floats, the one that tails in towards the ramp.
Yeah.
That we had all the trouble with, but they've rectified that.
If we don't have to spend money, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, right now with all the infrastructure things that we're gonna have to do, I think we're better off trying to build up a little contingency fund and try to see where this goes with, who knows what in the year.
It was suggested, maybe we should put in some guest moorings somewhere. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm really opposed to that, and for a couple of reasons. One, you're gonna have people just come and use them all the time and abuse it. I've seen it other places. You can just go over off of Nautilus Island up in the parks here, you'll see it. There are moorings, like last summer, we had at Seal Harbor, we had quite a few people call if they could come in and moor overnight. We usually could find them a mooring to use at their own risk. They could call the owner direct, or we'd have one available that I'd tell them to pick up. And it really worked really well. We were able to do it without liability to the town.
Mhm.
So Dylan, you were started to say something about,
Just that it had been suggested that we consider some guest moorings. It seems like it could be expensive to maintain moorings or, question mark, you know.
it's a wonderful service, and I can think of a lot of people that will use them. But it's a capital expense, and
Right.
this is not a good time to.
No, most of the places that have done that started doing it years ago, did it for their stores and marinas because it brought them business.
Mhm.
We don't have either harbor. We're not having people coming in that benefits the town in those moorings. We don't have stores, we don't have, you know. And there's a lot of liability to it.
The other thing, we got a bid for the repairs at Grindle Point. We only got one bid. I'm not sure if
Was this the railing and all the work?
yeah,
Okay,
I don't know if I have the authority to just approve that, or if I bring it here. I waited to bring it here, but now I realize that now they're not gonna be able to do it probably until November.
you should probably bring it up to the committee so we have an idea of the money, but then Janet would have to be involved and.
What, was it a reasonable bid?
I think so. And it was the only one we got. To repair some of the, rotten wood on the wharf at Grindle Point.
What I would do is just talk to Janet
Mm-hmm.
and let her make that decision.
Okay,
Yeah, I agree.
sure.
Pete, you got any ideas how we can get some money?
Unfortunately, not for this year, because the budget process has come and gone. To the best of my knowledge, and we're preparing to propose the budget we have.
Well,
Town meeting.
this came out this afternoon. You have a copy of it. This is a pot of money, significant pot of money, is basically to go towards the seafaring part of our state. A lot of it has to do with infrastructure. But when I briefly read through that today, and then I looked up, they talk about Maine Infrastructure Adaptation Fund. And that's for water quality and stuff like that. But I got a feeling that this will help. We could probably use this to get the electricians bill paid,
That'd be great.
because we just have to make sure that we use the right terminology, because it is the working waterfront. That dock is basically commercial fishermen.
There's also, a grant that I forget the name of, that if we have the dock built in a way that improves its resiliency,
That's right, that's the word.
and that could just be using extra long lags, or, you know.
Right.
And that dock was built partly with grant money for fishing. It's in the record, so. We have a commercial, so that should be pursued. I talked to Janet about looking into getting an advocate, working with the town to pursue this stuff, because that's what other towns are starting to do, because it's so much work to keep up with this stuff. That
You were gonna say something?
Well, I would suggest that you, on item 7 here, you've got ways the harbor committee can collaborate with other town committees. The energy committee has Christopher Brazier on it, who's like a whiz when it comes to grant writing and finding money. she was the, main driver behind getting all this money from Susan Collins. So that could be, if that's a place to apply for money, that could be a two birds, one stone. That we've now collaborated with the Energy Committee in an attempt to get money to repair docks. and
Especially electrical.
Especially if it's electrical related, that'd be right up their alley.
Right,
So.
yeah,
I would be happy to reach out to her and suggest that she get in
Would you?
touch. Sure.
that'd be great,
Uh,
yeah.
Remember that lady, Carrie, the lady that spoke last night?
Mhm.
She's on the energy committee.
That's her.
That's Prescott.
She's
Okay,
the-
let's go.
Yeah.
Right, she's super. Thanks a lot, Pete.
Yeah, of course.
Anything else, Dylan or Earl?
Can't think of anything right now.
I can't.
I've been pretty constant touch with boatyards about everything and trying to keep things with the coming summer. The only other thing, Ken, maybe, I don't know if we did get any monies. The ramp at Grindle Point the brake sides of it are washing out, some and breaking down. If we ever could, redo that upper part, that's just something to keep on the back burner somewhere if the opportunity arises.
Totally agree with that. I went down, started walking around, and
Yeah, you can see what's happening.
a lot of, everything got smashed up. Pretty well, get
Yeah.
it fixed up.
If there are any bills or estimates that have to do with storm damage at public facilities, make sure Fred gets a copy of those, because he's submitting to FEMA.
Okay, could you, Janet, I sent that to Janet.
Okay.
Could you check with her?
Janet probably
Make
sent
sure
it to
she
him.
gets it.
Mhm.
From that Janie, great Janie?
Yeah.
Okay,
So the electrical bill was 9,000 what?
well, almost 10, just shy of 10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
Yeah, and it's well itemized. I mean, it's professionally, she could submit that as is with a.
Right, on the budget, so after the fact, that the bottom number on the budget, the 8,000 was what we were gonna, we thought it was a small ding goal, but it's a big one. And Janet said we have plenty of money in the contingency fund if we need something. So the bottom line is $44,300. That's our budget. So if I have a motion, then
Yeah, I make a motion, we accept the budget as presented by Ken.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Isn't it that?
About 40,000. Where'd that one be?
Oh,
So there's a $4,000.
discrepancy.
Okay. From harbor master, deputies of 5,000.
Are you a voting member, Gil? Okay.
So Stan still isn't with us yet, right?
Right.
Oh, and by the way, we did take most of those courses that were required of us with the town.
Well-
We had this,
There's one.
I don't know, if there's anything else I have to take home, am I okay?
I think I'll check tomorrow. but I think you're
I think you're
okay.
okay. I
Okay.
do these online courses for,
Dylan, can you comment
For this
about
year.
your experience getting certified?
My experience getting certified was, I drove to Castine and went to Maine Maritime with about 40 or 60 other harbor masters. And we did a number of seminars.
Oh,
They talked about
yeah.
grant money, they talked about aquaculture, they talked about mooring inspections,
Because it doubled.
and increased my knowledge
That's
of
one of them.
You want a lot?
I think so. I mean, it's good to be exposed to 50 other harbor masters. I mean, you got the guys up in Machiasport who's like, I don't know, very simple harbor, and then you got guys in Falmouth with 1,000 moorings or something. Some of those guys are cops too. So that's an interesting dynamic.
You met the coastal, they had the marine wardens there too, right?
Yeah, but I mean, some harbor masters
Oh,
are
yeah.
law enforcement.
They are, yeah, big towns.
You know, and it's just, it was good to be exposed to that, and, I did receive multiple certifications, one as a harbor master. I completed a safe boating test, which is good to,
Oh, one thing I do think we need to talk about. when we get- Do we do our map report? Down that board after anything, yeah, there you go. You let me know and look into that.
Yeah, Janet would be one. I don't know when the deadline is for them.
Okay, I should find out. There's a couple things that,
You either missed it or it's coming up very soon,
yeah, okay.
because they have to get that town report ready for a meeting, for town meeting.
All right, so the number is 40,300.
That's what I'm saying. So I think you might.
but yeah, that was a, interesting, sort of fun thing to do, to go to Castine.
I mean, it was enjoyable. I mean, I met a lot of people I knew, I've known for years. Wayne Hamilton, was he there?
Yeah, Wayne was there, Molly Eddy was there.
Yeah, of course,
She
Molly
says hi.
sailed transatlantic with me
Yeah, she.
in the Caribbean. She's great, yeah.
I'd like to visit her in Rockland and see how she.
She actually, taught at Maine Maritime for a while.
Yeah, no, she's, 1600 unlimited.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. She got some of her first sea time with me.
Look, Pete brought up something here. The budget, the budget that, I turned into Janet was 40,300. Not 44,300.
Oh,
I picked up the wrong sheet tonight.
okay.
We had too many. Thank you.
So should we make a motion as amended?
Yeah.
This is what the town has.
So it'll be,
It should be at 40,300.
40,300.
It's on this slide.
okay, so I make a motion that
Amended?
we accept an amended harbor committee budget of $40,300.
Well, when you guys wanna.
Second.
I favor.
Okay.
Thank you. Good eyes.
Something I forgot to, that we should talk about, there's been a change in Maine law about licensing for younger people to vote. Maine's adopted a test, and I can't remember, was it 14 years old or 12? There's a voting, and I should probably put that in the paper.
Yeah.
Something about it, it's new this year. There'll be, a lot of this, Connecticut's done it, Rhode Island's done it, and Maine is doing it now. So we should make that, and we maybe want to post it. So I'll follow through on that, and maybe make a laminate, so we can post it at the, and at the Terra team, they should post it.
Post what now?
They've amended who can run a boat, a certain horsepower,
Oh.
and there's a safe boating course they're required to take.
Yeah.
I know in Rhode Island, both my grandkids have to do it. In the past, in Maine, it hasn't, we haven't done much, but they're pretty invited to it. And, there was, I think it came into effect maybe the first year, I can't remember.
Yeah, it sounds like a new thing. They definitely talked about that at the.
Yeah, so we should probably make it out in the open, we should probably post that.
Yeah, something you guys can research.
Yeah, Dylan and I can take care of that.
Sure.
Super. All right, next topic on the agenda is discussion of developing a comprehensive harbor plan. The Department of Marine Resources came out with a totally different approach this year, within the last month. And they're trying to get somewhat uniformity around the state, because you have small places, big places. How are you gonna deal with agriculture, for example? But they have a plan in which everybody understands it, because they vote, the town will vote on the comprehensive plan. It's the same idea as having a comprehensive plan for the town. But it's strictly to deal with all of the pressures that are coming about. Marine Resources is having answering sessions all over the state, because you have some communities that are so opposed to agriculture taking over the fishing grounds, taking over navigation, stuff like that. And they're trying to create, do something that's illegal, because Department of Marine Resources are in charge of agriculture, not the towns. Towns don't really have much of anything to say about it. And that's the frustrating part for the small towns, particularly down east. I went to the meeting down east at University of Maine in Bucharest. People were coming right off the wall, because, well, we can look after Klamath, but we can't take care of something that moves into the town that takes up the same space. Anyway, the idea would be that we write a grant, and we can pick and choose what we think is the best thing for Islesboro. Right now, we don't know who owns what mooring. Do you?
No,
Yeah, probably 90%.
Yeah, you know a lot.
There's some out there. We know they're getting a lot better. It's very few that we don't know now, but yes, we can do better.
Well, but the idea would be, if we hire somebody to do this work, they could take care of, all they gotta do is download the software from the Department of Marine Resources. They have it. It's all satellite driven. So like, if you wanna know, how many moorings around Islesboro in let's say 2020, you can see that. You have a picture. You don't know who owns them,
Right.
but you have the exact coordinates for every one of those moorings, even those that are outside of our mooring field. And they have pictures of all of those. Last year we had 27 aquaculture farms around Islesboro. I'm sure we have a lot more today. And you can take a picture, let's say, of this year, and you can see how many people, where you put them on. So there's a lot of technology that's available. It's just time consuming, it's so anyway, I won't wander on that, but I think it's something that we really should get a handle on.
Is it something probably will be mandated eventually?
Yeah, and we have two mooring fields, the town is in charge of those two mooring fields. We gotta at least know who owns what in the mooring fields. And if we know that, talking to talking to boaters that have, let's say, have a boat here, we have a storm coming in. And if you don't know who owns them, how can you notify?
Right.
So. Anyway.
So
Any thoughts?
I wonder how we would, I mean, I would love to see some of those aerial things personally. I mean, blow one up and start putting information. That would be so handy.
I mean, we could start by just printing Google Earth.
Yeah. I can actually talk to my grandson about, 'cause he's got this very expensive drone now, about when he was gonna bring it up some very calm day, just go up
Yeah,
and
take
do some
pictures,
big blow ups.
take
we could
pictures
make
at
it-
high tide.
Yeah, because we've done that in Belfast and up in the Orchard. We've had drones go up in elevations and we've done a lot of stuff with drones, and boy, is it helpful. Oh, incredible. We've done a whole bunch in Belfast for different elevations.
Well, the idea of, not to overload somebody to come in. Having an agreement as to what things are most important, how much time it's gonna take to do it. And, to give, basically give the two harbor masters information that you can use, however you wanna use it,
Yeah.
but, I can see, remember come down to number 8 a minute. Did you see the statement that was made? This lady is probably one of the leading researchers about the Gulf of Maine.
Yeah.
And if we can expect in 26 years, expect somewhere between around 70 storms like the ones we had this winter.
Yeah.
And that's really what she's saying. Now you get them infrequently, all of a sudden, the water's warming up. Everything is,
Well, Colorado University, they do the hurricane predictions every year. It predicted this to be the worst summer ever. They just upgraded. They said this could be the worst ever. 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit increase in the average temperature in the Atlantic Basin.
Well, it's not
I
gonna
mean,
get
it's
any,
like-
it's gonna just get worse every year.
That's right. Yeah.
I think the harbor master's job is going to change dramatically because of the storms.
Yeah.
There's nobody else around that's going to, other than the weatherman. We all turn to TV
Hmm.
and generally speaking, we know, at least a week before the big storms hit.
We're doing it some now. Last summer, last fall, I was making numerous phone calls before weather. That one, the boat that set on the east side there at the Narrows. I
Yeah.
finally got a hold of them, like that.
I
Things like
mean,
that.
I've spoken to them too, I don't.
And,
think
at
that's-
Seal Harbor, I had people go out and double up on things and, we're trying, but you're right, it's gonna get worse.
So as a public service, as a harbor committee, a service to the community to warn them about things like that. I think it's gonna be a really big deal,
Yeah, I do too.
whether it happens like, let's say the town office has we had a flag out there or something, or a stone flag to go up.
What I've been having people do,
Distress center
what's that?
flag, right? Not having a distress flag.
Yeah, well, there's flags for weather anyway, they have them, but, I've been telling people to Google Penobscot Bay Marine Forecast. And then they click on the top one that comes up, and then you can scroll down. to Penobscot Bay, and it gives you 5-day out synopsis of your wind and direction and everything. And, that's a very simple thing people can do if they just get that on their phone or get that somewhere, and I've been really
Well,
encouraging people.
The other thing, you guys are going to make recommendations to people that are putting in docks. Seems to me they have to be taller. They've gotta be built with much better materials. Look at the last time we had met here, we had one person on the screen that lost his dock
Yeah,
completely,
yeah.
went out to sea.
Well, we had a lot of docks, and even see it at Bounty Cove. You know, fortunately, our dock or Alex is held up, but the float was higher than the dock. And when I built it, I changed it into the ledge, and it's the only reason it stayed, but Solende's dock was getting washed over at one point.
I think there's a number for the new recommendation. I think it might be up 3.9 feet from whatever it was before.
Yeah, it's gotta be way up.
Went out to 1.6, but, guaranteed.
Well, if you're gonna, if you're gonna do 2, you might as well do 4, if it's,
Yeah,
I mean, that,
that's the time
in
to do
the,
it.
in construction, that's gonna be like 2 more courses of beams or 1 more piece of granite
Yeah,
versus losing a $200,000.
I was talking to Josh Conover, and he was redoing the one in Castine. He was frustrated because he told them they gotta go up, they didn't wanna spend the money to go up higher, but they want a little bit, I guess, but they're gonna pay the piper. They were completely awash.
Well, so far, the engineering reports, like even the ones on Hurricane Island, where they're looking at building resilient
Right.
buildings out there. They say it's the strength of the materials, and you've gotta go up. And there's no way around it.
Yeah.
But like Hurricane talks about having, developed a building that can withstand anything.
Yeah.
You know, as far as big storms here, but it's gonna be expensive.
We haven't seen a hurricane here yet.
That's right,
Yeah.
that's right. Now, there seems to be anything on the eastern part of this island is gonna be exposed. And if you build the dock, and there is one dock that's gonna be built.
I know.
Is that, at McNeil's?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think the way they're building it, personally, we can't say any reason to know, but the way they're angling it and everything else,
Which direction are they headed?
they're putting it towards Hutchins Island. Out, up the bay, they should be putting it right off the point, short, right into deep water. I don't know why they're doing that. There's no reasoning about it, he's been told.
okay, well, I think everybody's on the same page, but I really think that, harbor masters are gonna be much more important than they have been in the past, even, well, there's just nobody else.
Well, I think
But
we're
it
gonna,
isn't gonna.
we're gonna have to be more proactive and,
Huh?
we're gonna have to be very proactive
Yeah.
and, if we see bad weather coming, to get a hold of people vulnerable.
But making recommendations to people that are building, if they come to you guys, you ought to be able, you ought to have information enough to say this is what is recommended for the next 100 years, or remember boats used to be, were built to withstand a 100-foot wave
Oh, yeah.
every 100 years or something.
I've been very disappointed in the engineering firms, for example, Big Solendes, that was Proc Marine. With all the experience and everything they have, and they did a beautiful job bulkheading the shore there, by the way, that's great for the town, because they'll save the town road, but why they didn't elevate that dock a lot more, I don't understand.
So just one last thing on this idea, because I don't wanna slow us down anymore. thinking about your working on your comprehensive plan, would it be, I think it's a great idea to collect the mooring information. I'm actually like a little bit surprised that there isn't some master list of it.
Well, there is, but it's not updated. We haven't updated it.
So- I would think it would be wise to update that to the best of the ability and perhaps to have like a single page flyer or suggestion or mailer of some kind that you can present to people who are registering for a new mooring, or perhaps send out to those who already have them.
We do have that,
Do you already?
but
Yeah.
that's only for the organized part of the harbors, and we're not doing almost any new moorings there because they're full. So these are, so what they're calling, I had 2 calls today.
Yeah.
Of 2 big moorings going in. And we talked about the size of the moorings, and we went way overboard.
Wayne Hamilton was given a class about moorings and, somebody asked what he had. And I forget what it was, but it was absolutely the biggest situation I'd ever, he had like a 2-ton, he's up in.
Oh, he's
Newport. He had
very
like
close.
a 2-ton this way to a 1-ton with bottom chain to, I mean,
Oh, he didn't mess around.
yeah, it was, he had a very interesting, anyway, what number are we on?
Back on 7, I skipped over that real quickly. We were asked by the select board to look at ways in which we might collaborate with other town committees. Don't have to, we tried that last year with the rec committee. And, but there, we had a meeting with all the chairmen of different committees. And most of the people I've never seen before.
Wasn't there a consideration with us in the aquaculture
Yeah,
committee?
Yeah, I don't know what's happening, aquaculture and shellfish too. I mean, there's all of these things are,
well, that got shot down at the select board.
yeah.
It still is a good idea. But as we keep moving along, seems to me that there will be more and more reasons why we ought to hook together. Like you were mentioning, like the energy committee.
I think sea level rise committee also, I mean,
Yeah,
especially like just talking
That
about
would be the primary,
pier heights,
very important.
you know. They're working with engineers right now, so they might be able to
Yeah.
help you with, you know, formal guidance and.
well, we definitely, like the Lighthouse Committee is quite interested in what's going on with the Sea Level Rise Committee.
And access to Grindle Point even.
Yeah. Without, well, you can't get to the island. It doesn't make whether you get one into the other.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. But if somebody can think of something as we go along, you know, with other committees, well, let's try to do what we can.
Hey, can I make one point, Mrs. Palmer?
Say again, Palmer?
I want to make one point, okay? As far as the comprehensive plan concept for the town, it's the town adopts a comprehensive plan, and puts the town in a situation that they're being proactive, which was mentioned, okay, as opposed to just reacting to different situations.
Yes.
So, yes, just generally speaking. And that's what you basically have been saying. And the other point I want to make is that usually when towns put in for grant money to different granting agencies, these agencies as a rule, and by all probability, will be more favorable to the towns which have updated comprehensive plans. And understand that helps as far as getting grant money.
Yeah, I think that, you know, perhaps Dylan and I could get together this summer. I can arrange a drone professional. And we can get a start on this. I think it would be a help, and then we immediately get some big blow ups. I think it would be well worthwhile
Sure.
to get started at this. We really do need to know absolutely every single mooring out there. We worked on it last year, we're way ahead, but we
Sounds
should,
great.
I
I'd
think,
like to hear that.
yeah, no, I think we should do that, and,
We can get a picture of the moorings. I think up to 2023, I can give you a picture. It will show you the coordinates, show you where the moorings are, but it doesn't tell you who owns it.
right, is that something you could pursue for us?
Yeah, I can get that off Department of Marine.
If it was in a file, I've got a good relationship with, Good Deeds in Belfast. I could have them print out a great big, enlarge a great big one from PDF.
Good, all right, well,
That would be
we'll do that.
worthwhile.
Does the library have a large format printer?
I don't know if they've got large, they do, land, we've been using them all the time and spending so much money with them that they'd help us out.
Yeah,
I learned recently that Shay Conover did the big ones that are posted in the hallway here.
Oh,
She was an Island
with Island
Fellow.
Institute,
Yeah,
yeah,
so maybe check with her on how she did that.
yeah, we could do that, good idea.
All right, moving on, I use this document here is the one that I use for harbor master's duty responsibility. And this is the only one that carries all the different laws, the ordinances that are passed by the town. And it says you're supposed to do certain things. I don't know, it seems to me that, harbor masters have discretion, but they don't have discretion beyond the ordinance. If the
Right.
ordinance says something, you have to go by the ordinance of the town voted of these particular things. So I encourage that, we enforce the ordinances, and as tough as it may be, on some people, but, I think the town expects it, so. Leave it at that. And anything that the harbor committee can do to help you do that, if you have to cite somebody that doesn't follow your directions, Fred can issue a number.
Yeah.
If you get all the cooperation, that's great. But-
Yeah, we can write tickets, because we have the tickets actually, and Fred can put more.
All right, we got a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. We may be looking.
Is that for you, or is that for the fixing?
It is cool.
That's for maintenance ongoing.
Are you loaning this to me?
It's a lot.